Thanks, Jay. Well, we've made our way into the home of Kelly Keller, who is a foster parent with the Children's Aid Society, and I'm joined with Kathy McGill. Now, Kathy, you work at the Children's Aid Society. Maybe just talk to us a bit about what foster parents do and what they are.
Well, foster parents are basically a family where children can go in the community where it's like a substitute family.
Okay.
Where they can be raised and given a time period for parents maybe to be able to do the things that they need to do to work on to be able to have their children back.
Okay.
Or if they're not able to go back, then children can develop lifelong relationships with foster parents.
So how do you choose the children to go into foster homes? It seems like, you know, there's a certain type of child that would probably end up in a foster home. Maybe talk about the children that would tend to go into a home like that.
It could be a child of any age. It's
Okay.
just a child that's at risk in the community.
And what do you mean by at risk?
They're at risk of any kind of physical, emotional, sexual harm.
Okay. Maybe talk about in Peterborough here, is there a need for more foster parents?
Yes, there is a need for more foster parents. We're always looking for more foster parents, and what we like to do is be able to match children and a family, because that's going to work in the best interest of the child.
And what sort of age categories do the children range from? Like, what's the youngest you've seen to the oldest?
The youngest I've seen is a baby from the hospital.
Oh, wow.
To all the way up to 21 years old.
Really? So there's still a demand for people, even though they're adults, to still have foster parents in their lives?
Yes, the ideal would be for a child to grow up in a foster home and develop a lifelong relationship where they can call that family their family for the rest of their lives, if that's something that they're in need of. Or.
And why do you think it's important for these children to go into foster homes as opposed to living in their regular homes?
Sometimes there is no one in the family that can care for them.
Okay.
That would be the ideal when we do look for that first, family member that can care for the child, but that's not always possible.
And do the children usually tend to go back to their previous family, well, I guess their real families, after they've been in a foster home?
Often they do, and sometimes they keep the relationships that they've developed and they have two families.
Now, what week is this? I heard it's a very special week for you guys at the Children's Aid Society. Maybe talk about that a little bit.
Yes, it is a very special week. This is the week that we're celebrating foster families, and we are having an appreciation dinner next week. And we really appreciate all the work that the foster parents are doing on behalf of the child.
And I see you have this purple ribbon here on you. What's that symbolize?
That symbolizes October is Child Abuse Month, so we're getting the awareness out that children are still at risk, and that we just want people to be aware that it's Abuse Awareness Month.
So how many children could a foster family have in a home at a time?
The most they can have is 4.
Okay.
Ideally, less is better, but often foster parents can do very well with 4 children as well.
And do sometimes these foster parents end up adopting the child?
Very much so. That's
Yeah.
the case more often now than it was in the past. Often foster parents are adopting the children that come into their care. They make that connection,
And
which
a
is
very
ideal.
big thing to me would be cost. Cost of children these days is immense. It's huge. How does a family be able to support their own children plus foster parents? Is there money involved that they're given from the Children's Aid Society to become a foster parent?
Yes, there is some money given for the daily care allowance. However, we don't like foster parents to look at this as an income. It's child-based, and
Okay.
it helps to care for their child.
And how can one become a foster parent? What are some of the rules or the process they would have to go through?
First of all, they would get in touch with us, and we would open a file and sit down and talk to them at their home and see what their situation is, what their home setting is like, and do they have space for a child? Are they working? They need to, have a stable home, basically. And then we would look for criminal record checks as well as references that they can provide us with to check on their behalf. There's also pride training that all foster parents and adoptive parents need to take now in order to become a foster or adoptive parent.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Kathy. And right now, unfortunately, we're going to take a short break, but stay with us because we have plenty more from the Kellers' home here, and we also have this for you just ahead. Welcome back to Newswatch at 5:30, everyone, where we are inside the Kellers' home today, learning about foster families, why people do it, and why it's important to become one. I'm joined with Kelly, and you are actually a foster parent.
Yes.
So tell us about why you decided to become a foster parent.
I have 3 daughters of my own, and they needed me to stay home with them. I was working outside of the home in group homes, and just decided that I'd stay home, and I didn't have enough challenge with my own 3, so I started taking another.
Wow.
But we love it, and there's every day is a different thing to do or to see, or every children has a new challenge for us. And
how long have you been a foster parent for?
I've been a foster parent for over 8 years now for other agencies,
Wow.
but 5 years with Children's Aid.
Wow. So how many kids do you think you've seen in that span?
Well, I'm well over 30, I'm sure.
Really?
Yeah, we take some that are, some come and go very quickly, and then we have some that stay for years.
Wow. So what are the experiences like having these children in and out of your home all the time?
You're always learning. You have to be the type of person who would like to educate yourself in different medical things, that developmental problems that children have and special needs, and I love it.
What are the kids typically like when they come into your home? Are they bad? Are they good? Are they well behaved? What are I guess there's a consensus that these are troubled kids, but are they or aren't they?
Not all of the kids
No.
are troubled. Definitely not. It just depends the age groups that you want to take. Obviously, if you take infants, there's nothing wrong with them. Myself, because I've been doing this a long time, I do tend to take behavioral children. So when they come in, I know that there's going to be behaviors, and sometimes they don't show them for weeks. Other times they show them the day they move in.
Okay.
It just really depends. And when you become a foster parent, you can make that decision of whether you want to take a behavioral child, or whether you want to take a baby, or whether you want to take a boy or a girl, or whatever age.
So what were the experiences like with your own children having all these other kids come into their home? Was there jealousy at all? How did they react and take having more kids into the home?
My own children have loved it. At the beginning, they were asked by Children's Aid if they wanted to do this, and they all thought they'd like to do it. And over the years, I've even had some move out now of my own. They all want to be foster parents. I've had teachers tell me I've raised very compassionate children because they've been around, special needs children, and they've learned how to help look after others, and they all want to become foster parents.
Really? That's
So I'm
incredible.
sure the cycle will continue.
Yeah, and what kind of rewards do you feel you've experienced out of becoming a foster parent?
Well, you definitely learn to be a patient person, and just understanding that everyone's different, and every child that comes into my home has a different way about them, and I have to learn how to cope with each child.
And do you feel it's important for more people in Peterborough to get involved with Children's Aid Society and become foster parents?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. We're always looking for foster parents. In fact, I'm one of the coordinators for a Foster Parents Society fair that we're having this evening at 7 o'clock at the public library. And we're just going to be there answering questions for any of the general public who are interested.
I know you've actually adopted one of your original foster
Yes,
children.
I have.
We have a beautiful little Kian over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so tell us about her story and how you guys came together.
She was one of my foster children, and she came to me at 4 months, and we just fell in love with her. And I'm an older parent, and I, obviously didn't think I'd ever adopt, but as a foster parent, you just never know what the future holds for you. And it's very hard to give back beautiful children once you've started loving them so much. But when you know they're going to a good home, you don't mind giving them back, really.
And so you adopted Kiana when she was 1?
Yes, it was just over 1 by the time the adoption went final.
And she's now 3 years old.
She's 3.
And
Yes.
she fits beautifully into your home, I see.
Yes. Yes. All my girls just love her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how many foster kids do you have now in your home?
I have 3 right at this moment, but I usually do have 4.
Wow. And you don't find it overwhelming having 7 children in the house?
No, not at all. Now, I do have teenage daughters of my own, so obviously, as you can see, they help out a lot.
Oh, that's great.
And without them, I think I wouldn't be able to do this.
Well, thank you so much, Kelly, and thank you for sharing your story with
Thank
us.
you.
And thanks for telling us about the need to become a foster parent. Welcome back to Newswatch at 5:30. As you can see, it's a busy household here at the Kellers, and right now I'm joined with Laura. And Laura, you were actually a foster child, were you not?
I was, yeah, since the time I was 12 years old.
So maybe talk about your story and your experience as being a foster child and
Yeah.
what it was like for you.
I think I was one of the fortunate ones because I wasn't bounced around a lot from home to home. I ended up in a really good foster home, a supportive foster home.
And how long were you there for? From 12?
I was there from the time I was 12 until I was 19 when I went away to school. And then I came back and I moved back in with my foster mom. and stayed there for another year or so, and now I'm out on my own again.
So she's always kind of been, you've been with the same foster home for the
I have,
time.
yes.
And they've always kind of been supportive in your life.
Very much so. She has been extremely supportive. She's helped me a lot through many things throughout my life, and she always made me feel very welcomed in her family, like I'm part of her family. And
what do you think your life would have been like had you not had the opportunity to go to her home and be welcomed in this family?
I try not to think about that too much, because I just think that I was very fortunate to end up with her, and I know that if I hadn't have had the stable environment that she was able to offer me, I could be anywhere right now.
And how thankful are you the fact that the Children's Aid Society has a program like this where kids, like how you were in your situation, are able to go to families and have a future?
I think it's excellent. I think it's really good that they're trying to get it out in the community. It's really good to have the awareness out there.
And you yourself, do you want to be a foster parent?
I can see it in the future, in the distant future, because I'd like to get my schooling and everything done first, and I think it's a very positive thing to do for youth. It's important to be able to offer them that chance.
Mm-hmm. What were some of the experiences like when you were 12, when you first went to the foster home? Do you kind of remember what it was like and what you were kind of thinking?
I remember at the time, it's a very confusing and difficult time, because you're very confused, you don't really understand what's going on and stuff like that. So I think it is very important going into the home that the foster parents are welcoming, and they make it so that it's a little bit easier transition.
Mm-hmm. And so do you have any brothers or sisters?
I do. I have many, many sisters.
Many sisters?
Yeah, many foster sisters.
And how's that?
Yeah, it's
a
excellent.
big, happy family?
Very much so.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's always busy in the house, and yeah, I love it.
And so you're still very close to your foster family?
Very much so, yeah.
And so you spend a lot of time with them here in Peterborough?
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Laura, so much for sharing your very important and very special story with us. We really appreciate it. And best of luck in your future.
Thank you very much. Thanks for allowing me to.
Yes, and unfortunately, that's all the time we have